So, good afternoon and Happy New Year to everyone. You're resting over your mat. Just take a minute here to observe your breath. And as you're observing your breath, try not to disturb the rest of your body, but take this time to breathe in and out. Notice that after a couple of minutes, what has happened to your body. Notice how the ankles have relaxed, the calves and thighs. Maybe your ribs have softened. Skin on the forehead has softened. And if you're resting over a bolster, you might feel that nice opening length through the abdomen and waist. And then observe from the center of your chest all the way out, down your arms to your fingers. And just take a long, slow inhalation, bringing your awareness to the surface. Move your feet and hands. Bend your knees. And then shift to your right or left side, rolling over. You can open your eyes to find a point of focus on the ground. And then inhale, come to seated. And find a spot where you can sit nice and tall, whether it's sitting on your bolster or a block, a cushion, anything to bring lift through the abdomen into the waist and spine. And adjusting yourself as best you can, clearing the flesh of the buttocks to sit as evenly as possible on your buttocks bones. Let the outer heels descend down. Let that feel like an anchor. And then from there, begin to lift the sides of the waist, lift the back body. And then roll the sides of your armpit chest area, like there's a suspender there. Roll that line up and over your shoulders, opening and broadening across your chest. Soften your gaze. Pause here. Coming into this shape with breath, with newness. Let it feel fresh and let it be open. And then join the palms of your hands and feel free to close your eyes if that's more comfortable. And again, observe your breath. Observe the slow, soft inhalation, slow, soft exhalation. Not restricting your breath. Be with your breath. Continue to lift and erect the spine. Anchor the hips, outer heels. Soften the throat. We'll start with 3 Oms. Inhale. Om. Om. Lower your hand. Surrender your head to your heart. Lower your hands. Lift your head and open your eyes. So just take a minute to clear your mat and come into Adho Mukha Virasana, downward facing hero pose. Cooper's going to demonstrate that. Feet together, child's pose. Some of you might remember this better as a child's pose. And as best you can, rest your forehead on the mat, or place that on a brick if you need some height. And then descend the hips and buttocks down into the heels. If ankles are cramping, that's when you want to lift them with a blanket under the knee, shin, and ankle area. And as best you can, drape your body over your legs. And here Cooper's demonstrating extending the arms from his hip crease, lengthening his waistline and fingertips. If you need to rest those arms, you can do that too. I know we've all had a couple of 6 months since we last did yoga together. But find your way into the pose that suits you. And if this bugs your knees, you can also lay on your back, knees to your chest. As we go through class today, we're going to wake up with some foundational standing poses. But please don't overstrain yourself. Pace yourself. Observe your body and see where you're able to go today. And just enjoy a community practice. Now when we shift to standing, you're going to inhale, lift your chest and head, and pause there and then come to standing in Tadasana, mountain pose. Start with your feet hip distance apart. And clear the skin of your heels and feet. So hinge forward and move the flesh of your toe pads forward and broaden them. And then reach back to the heels and broaden the heels. Good. And just face forward towards the camera. Yeah. Now, for some of you, you might imagine your hips are more on the outer edge. But you want to think of where the thigh bone comes into the hip socket. So Cooper's actually going to step his feet a little bit closer. Then, as he anchors the back of his heels down, one is going to anchor more than the other. So roll your toes up, press the back of the heel into the mat. And as the back of the heel presses down, lift the front of the thigh, the kneecap, and thigh. Roll the armpit chest line up and over your shoulders. Soften your gaze and breathe. And as you're standing here in Tadasana, notice where the weight is trying to fall and see if you can continue to disperse it evenly. And as you spread your toes now wide across the mat, maintain that contact with your heel. So open your toes wide, and you can look down at them, see what they did, see if they're as wide as you thought. And as you spread them, try not to turn your feet out, but actually move just the toes, spreading them from the root out. So bring your feet back parallel. Then if you have a brick, you're going to take that brick and place it between your feet on the ground. And then align the inner heel and inner big toe mound. I'm going to give you a closer view. They fall. Inner heel, inner big toe mound. So those 2 points you can connect with the brick. Then, not hooking or hitting your heel, your ankles into the brick. Press your inner heel down and in, and lift that ankle up and off the brick. Press the toe mounds as well. Now lift your toes up. Good. And breathe. And you'll feel the work come right from that ankle joint all the way up the inner line of the leg. And once you've lifted it, return to looking forward. And then inhale, reach the arms out like a crossing guard. Right and left. Expand across your chest and extend beyond your fingertips. Move your hands just slightly forward so they're not going behind you. And then turn your arms so that your palms roll toward the ceiling. Back of the hand down. Draw the chin down. And inhale, reach your arms overhead to touch the ceiling. Dig down through the heels. Connect through those toe mounds into the brick. And then roll the sides of the neck down, the sides of the spine, and reach up. Lift your head, lift your chest. Good, to look forward. Couple more breaths here from the heels to the fingertips. Extend. Reach down beneath your heels and then reach beyond your fingers. Let your chin fall once more and lift out of your low back. Lift and stretch your back waist. And then roll the chest and head up once more. And then exhale, arms at your side. Adjust the brick so that it comes narrow and between your upper and inner thighs. And again, if you can put it here. If you don't have a brick, that's fine. Just continue to work the cues of the legs. So here, to look down at your feet, and again, make sure those toes are pointing forward. Bend your knees, everyone, so you're sitting your hip crease back. Then, like the brick was between your inner heels, hit the inner heels toward that brick. And then lift your knees and thighs and squeeze the brick between now the upper inner thighs to lift the front of the waist. Straighten your legs. Press your heels. Great. Inhale, reach the arms back out to the side. Keep connecting with that brick. Squeeze it between the thighs. Spin the palms to the ceiling. Drop your chin. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Extend. Lift out of your back waist from your heels to your fingertips. Extend. Inhale, roll the chest up. And then exhale, Utkatasana. Sit back. Squeeze the brick and sit back. Watch that you don't lose the contact between the brick and your thighs. Squeeze that brick. Lift the inner ankles and reach your fingertips high. Inhale, come to standing. Exhale, arms at your side. Tadasana. Breathe. Awesome. So Cooper, just turn to face the right. So we'll do this once again. This time you're going to keep your arms reaching in front. So you'll sit that hip crease back, descend into the heels, squeeze the brick, and then reach the arms overhead. Okay? Everyone, inhale, and then exhale, sit back. Now squeeze the brick between the thighs. Pull the thighs into your hips. Drop the chin if you need to. Extend beyond your fingers. Roll your chest high. And then lift your head when ready. Watch that you're not squeezing the knees, but you're working the outer hips, outer thighs into that brick. Feel the lift come from the front of the pubic bone up to the front body. Reach through those small fingers. Inhale, come to standing. Exhale, arms at your side. Tadasana, mountain pose. Adjust your feet so that you can feel the weight again dispersing evenly. Wonderful. So if you need to, keep the arms in front for Utkatasana for chair pose. If you want, reach your arms overhead and do this for a third time. Hopefully we're warming up. Here we go. Cooper's going for it. So exhale, sit back. Reach your arms overhead, stretch and lengthen your back waist. Now don't let your tail fall out behind you. Plug the tip of the tail toward the pubic bone. Lift the front body and sit down a bit more. Bend your knees. Good. Knees can go over the toes here. That's fine. Pull your thighs into your hips. Reach beyond those fingers. Breathe. Sit down a little bit more. Squeeze the brick. And then inhale, come to standing. Arms at your side. Tadasana. Mountain pose. Wonderful. Okay, remove the brick unless this feels like a good width for you for your back. And you'll come into Tadasana once more, feet together. So inner heels, inner big toe mounds. See if even the big toes can touch here. I'm going to step back a bit. Cooper, you can too. Yep. There, inner heels, inner big toe mounds. Then down. Squeeze the calves. Squeeze like the brick is between those upper inner legs. And pull the thighs up into your hips like you're putting the tightest pants on. First day of the year. Roll the armpit chest and straighten your legs. So as you're pulling your pants on, you're straightening your legs. And breathe. Soften your gaze. Press through those heels. You'll feel your body kind of waver back and forth, but keep anchoring down. From the back of each thigh, anchor down through the heel. Anchor down through the heel and roll the armpit chest. And breathe. Inhale, exhale. Squeeze the calves toward one another. Squeeze like the bricks between your upper inner thighs. Soften your gaze. And breathe. Inhale, exhale. And then release. Just to find something to balance you, just reach to the wall. So all that's going to happen here is you're going to reach back for your heel and get a quad stretch. Okay? So align the knees, roll the tip of the tail toward the pubic bone and lift that front body. Stretch the front of the quad. Roll the tail and lift through the front of the abdomen. Inhale, exhale. Breathe. See if you can move your knee back a little bit, Lori. Yeah, and lift the front waist. See if that made a difference for you. Good. And then second side. Wonderful. Notice the difference right to left. Try not to sit in your hip as you're doing this. Stand tall through the standing hip as you're stretching that quad. Now the opposite leg. And then release. Good. So you'll come into the center of the mat, and we're going to come into Parsahasta Padasana. It sounds more complicated than it is. It's just a wide stance with your feet. So Cooper's going to stand with his feet together. He's going to do a quick demonstration. Yeah, some of you already know. Go for it. You can do a couple rounds. So feet together, Tadasana. And then you'll inhale, and you'll jump your feet apart. Bend your knees and jump. Yeah, so it's like a starfish. Now, look down at your feet. For most of us, one of our toes is going to turn out. See if you can have the feet parallel, toes pointing forward. Okay, bend your knees, inhale, bounce, and jump the feet back together. Do not jump if that's not good for your body, okay? Inhale, jump your feet apart. Do this 5 times. Reach out, expand across your chest, open your fingers, breathe, and then bend the knees. Inhale, jump your feet together. Inhale, Jump your feet apart. Whether you're jumping or just stepping, you're still getting that expansion across your chest. Good. So 2 more or 3 more, wherever you're at. Bend the knees, inhale, lift through the front waist, expand across your chest, reach out. Look at your feet a second when you're in the pose. Are your feet pointing forward? 1 to 2 more. Inhale, jump or step your feet apart. Breathe. Yes, good. Okay, check those feet out. And last one, but stay there in the starfish, Parsvahasta position. Wonderful. Now, drop your chin a second and stretch out between your shoulder blades out to your fingertips. Good. Then roll your chest up and extend across the front body. Great. Now, bend your knees and sink. Let the weight funnel down into both feet as evenly as possible. Then dig your heels deep and lift and straighten the legs into the thighs. Stretch out beyond your fingers. Relax your jaw and throat. Breathe. Inhale, exhale. Notice here, as you're standing in this position, your feet start talking. Your lower legs start working. You might even feel stretched through the front of the thighs and pelvis. Inhale, bend your knees, and jump your feet together. Wonderful. You can have your feet together all the way. Tadasana. And I'm going to show this next one. So as you're in Tadasana, you can watch. So we'll come into Parsvahasta, so where we turn our leg. So you turn your right foot about a third, pick the heel up, and turn it 2/3 under. So that we come into Parsa, meaning half, turning one leg, the right leg, and then the back leg is still in the same position. However, if there's any pulling on the knees or the groins are feeling pretty tight, we're actually going to do it this way. It'll be much better. So you're going to turn your left foot in slightly, then turn your right foot, pick the heel up, and turn the whole leg in the thigh. We'll bend the knees so that you can press through the heels, and then from the outer knees, pull your thighs up into your hips. Okay? Catch when the knee wants to turn the other way. You want the knee pointing toward the middle toes of that right foot. Okay, then we come out of the position. Feet together. Turn, whoop, as I fall. Okay, as I get into this pose, pulling into the buttocks. Turning the feet. Feet together. Okay, middle of the mat. Tadasana. Inhale, jump your feet apart, arms wide, reach out. Stretch across your chest, lift your front body, breathe. Now turn your right foot a third to the right. Then turn and lift your right heel and scoop that heel under so that your right foot is all the way turned. Oh, Coop, try that one again. If you did it right, don't worry about doing it again. Everyone actually, let's all bring our feet parallel. Just go back out. I got it, I did that wrong. Okay, inhale, jump your feet apart. Now, you're gonna do your back foot. So turn your back foot in slightly, your left foot. Then Cooper's gonna turn his right foot a third. Then he'll pick his heel like he has a high heel on and scoop the heel under. Now bend both knees a second. Yes, press through the heels. And then from the outer knees, pull those thighs into the buttocks. Expand across your chest. This left thigh presses back, but not at the expense of the knee. So if the knee is starting to drop or turn, bend your right leg slightly. Bend it, yeah. Lift your right toes. Press through the inner and big toe mount, inner heel, inner big toe mount. Then lift that leg up into the buttocks. Yes. You want to feel like you're working your outer buttocks on the right side and left eventually. Okay, spin your feet back to parallel. Pause, bend your knees, inhale, jump or step your feet together. And then inhale, jump or step your feet apart. Now turn your right toes in slightly, so the whole right leg turns. Left foot turns a third. Pick the heel up like high heels and turn and spin that heel. Bend both knees. Yeah, press through the heels. And then as you straighten your legs, pull the outer line of the leg into the root of the buttocks. Good. You're facing forward, so stretch across your chest. Yeah. Tighter side.
Yeah.
Good. So a lot of us are going to feel this stretch through this back quad, or the inner groin left side, or both. Spin the feet parallel. Now keep them parallel this time. Don't bring them back together. Turn your feet, Cooper. Turn your legs, yeah. Now turn your right leg again, or turn your left leg in. So we're gonna go right back into the turning of the leg. So Cooper's gonna turn his left foot to the right. Yeah, turn the right leg. So preparing for our warrior two. Yeah, arms up as best you can. Good. Now, bend your right knee, warrior two. Yes, all the way down, as much as you can. Good. Press through that back heel and front heel, and then look back at your back arm. Stretch across your chest. Inhale, straighten your legs. Spin your feet parallel. And then turn your right foot in. And then turn your left foot, coming back. Now, warrior two, second side. Bend. Good. Try not to let your right shoulder reach into your left hand. You want to reach your right shoulder into your right hand. Look towards your right arm. There we go. Now bend your knee a bit more and breathe. Is it your arms? Inhale, straighten. Spin your feet parallel. Now we're going to take a wide forward fold. If you have bricks nearby, you can reach to them or reach to the ground. Standing wide forward fold, Prasarita Padottanasana. Watch that your hips don't fall behind your heels. That's the one thing with the camera, you can actually see your alignment a little bit. Yeah, good. And then notice your knees, even behind the fabric of your pants. Is it dropping down or is it lifting up? You want to get that area to lift. Now for Cooper, we're just starting to do yoga again since Aiden was born. So he's going to bend his knees and lengthen the chest a bit more and see if he can get more stretch to the low back. And Cooper, just stand up. Everyone else stay in your pose. Cooper's just going to show a side profile. So bring your feet together and move the blocks there. You just turn. Yep. Good. So turn. Your feet don't have to be that wide. You'll notice the more narrow your stance, the tighter it's going to be on your hamstrings, low back area. But you don't want to be doing it so far that you're doing the splits. So you'll hinge forward. Everyone can inhale and come back to standing just a second and I'll show this. So here, you can see there's a bit of a rounding line through here. So he's going to bend his knees, anchor the outer heel, trying to create space through the sacrum all the way up through the outer heel. Then he'll stretch the trunk, reach the heart forward, tip the tail up. Yeah. How's that? More stretch to the back. Now if he's ready, he'll press his thighs and knees back, but not let his hips fall behind his heels. Yeah. And you can see how the hamstrings are getting a deep stretch now because it's going into his low back a bit. Good. So just go for one more round. Take your feet nice and wide. Look at your feet, have them parallel or slightly turned toward one another. Anchor the outer heels into the mat. Hinge forward, hands to bricks or the ground. Take a minute to roll your chest forward. You can see in Cooper's demonstration, he didn't go straight down to the ground. He lengthened the front body as well as the back. One of the biggest indicators of the pose not being anchored is when your heels are coming off the mat. So maybe walk your hands back, or from the base of the buttocks, root the back of the heel down into the ground, right and left. Then when you're ready, you can walk your hands closer to the line of your feet or stay in the position you're at and release the back of the head. Keep the arms engaged by lifting the shoulder blades up the back toward the waist. And continue to anchor those heels and breathe. Right heel and left heel. Breath across your spine or back, waist, mid back, and upper back. And then inhale, roll your chest forward, walk your hands, pause there in half forward fold position. And then inhale back to standing. And just heel toe your feet back together, yeah. Yay! Good. Okay, come back to face forward, Cooper. You're gonna come back through Warrior Two once again. And we're going to do one more Presa-Rita at the end. So he's going to, or we're all going to inhale, jump or step your feet apart. Yeah, look at your feet. Are they pointing forward or slightly turned in? Then turn your left foot slightly to the right. Then turn your right leg to the right. Aligning that heel and big toe mound. And then bend your knees when ready. Now, if those inner groins are feeling still pretty tight, bend your back leg as well. And then see if you can bend the front knee a bit more and lift your right toes. Then when ready, press the back thigh back. Look to your back arm, spread your fingers wide, and breathe. Inhale, straighten your legs. Spin your feet parallel. And then look down. Most of you, your right foot's probably going to be a little bit ahead of the left, so adjust them. Turn your right foot in. And turn your left leg, Warrior Two, second side. Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale, bend your knees, and exhale, get deep. Yeah. Then you can bend the back knee. Anchor that back outer heel. And bend a little deeper through your front. Watch that not all the weight is going forward. Lift your left toes. Lift your front toes. Good. Anchor the back outer heel. Bring that solid foundation that's beneath your feet into your body. Look back at your right arm and stretch across both sides of your chest. And then inhale, straighten. Spin the feet parallel. And then exhale, hinge forward, hands to the bricks. And pause. Now recall how we had Cooper tip his tail. So bend your knees, tip your tail toward the ceiling, and stretch the sides of the trunk. Roll your chest between your arms, and find your way into Presa-Rita Padottanasana, standing forward fold. Standing wide forward fold. Watch that you're not dropping down, that the outer heels are finding connection so you can broaden that low back space. Inhale, walk your hands forward. Point of gaze. And then inhale, step, or come up to standing, and then feet together. Okay. So I know we're all at different stages in our practice, so you can find your way to either the wall or take a downward facing dog, depending on what suits you and your practice today. So here I'm going to show from a side profile. Can you see how my hands are higher than my hips? I'm bending my knees so that I can anchor the heels down. And as I straighten my legs, I'm going to be pulling the knees and thighs up into my hips to stretch the waist. Okay? I'm trying not to let my hips go behind my heels. So that's a little bit of playing, but you can use the camera to see that on yourself. Okay? So start there, or downward facing dog looks like this if you're ready to take that position. Okay? So find a position for you. So we'll do the wall one first. We're going to do 2 rounds. So if you want to start at the wall and then work to down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, you can. So here, Cooper's going to step his feet a little bit more narrow so we're more hip distance. Anchor the heels, roll the toes up. Everyone can do this, that's even in downward facing dog, okay? So roll your toes up, tip your tail up, and try not to drop between your chest. You want to roll your chest forward between your thumbs. Roll your chest towards your thumbs a little bit more. Yes, keep tipping your tail a bit more. Now pull the upper arms into the shoulders and reach through the thumb and index finger. Shoot your chest towards the wall, but pull your hips back, or towards your thumbs if you're in down dog. Yeah. Now if your legs are bent, see if you can press your thighs and knees back and breathe. Think about stretching the back waist, stretching the sides of the trunk long. Soften your throat, soften your face, dig your heels deep and stretch. 2 more breaths here. Lift those toes, lift those knees. Roll those collarbones forward a little bit, Natalie. Yeah, good. And then, Rhonda, try not to drop into your armpits. Wrap the nipple line in. There you go. And then inhale, come back up so you can drop your knees if you're in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Good. Okay, so when I say the nipple line, I know it might not make much sense for everyone, but what I'm meaning is when this is jetting forward, you're losing the support in your upper shoulder. So you want to wrap this part in by wrapping the waist in and this area, okay? So you just don't want to be sinking into the chest and shoulders, whether you're in this position. So here, I'm wrapping the armpits and nipple line in instead of sinking, okay? Same thing with downward facing dog. So choose which pose you're going to do. Come to your hands and knees if you're going to do down dog. If you're going to do it on the wall, go back to the wall. Yep, you can do it on the Mukha. So here, feet are about hip distance apart if your hamstrings are pretty open. If they're really tight, take it as wide as the mat. Spread your fingers wide. Think of the thumb and index finger as the power of these upper arms and shoulders. So root that thumb and index finger into the mat, spread the fingers, and then as you lift your knees, lift that inner arm all the way up into the armpit. Keep the collarbones wide and keep wrapping that front waist and chest. Bend your knees a bit, Cooper. Tip your tail up, everyone. Good, whether you're at the wall or in down dog. Then, as you straighten your legs, don't lose the tail tipping. Press the thighs, pull those arms into your shoulders, and breathe. Come back to the fingers, thumb and index finger. Lift the thumb and index finger all the way up into the armpit. Go, go, go. Lift the hips like I'm pulling your hips up or pulling them back in the half forward fold at the wall. One more breath here. Press your thighs back. Stretch. And then Adho Mukha Virasana, child's pose when you're ready. Either on your back, knees to chest, or you can lay with your head down. For many of you, you are probably going to find this pose has changed over the past 30 minutes or so. I always put a block underneath Cooper's head because he has a really tight thoracic spine. Really tight when I press it. So I'm trying to avoid him dipping between the shoulder blades. Face forward. Inhale, exhale. And then on an inhale, you can slowly walk your hands in and come up. Not you though. And just have a look here. We're not going to redo this, but so that you can see, Cooper's going to drop his head. And you can see this dip right here. So when I put the brick here, it helps to lift his head so the weight's not so heavy on this area and he's able to spread and open the back of the neck and chest. Okay? So what's going to happen here is you're going to come into Baddha Konasana, bound angle. And you could sit on a bolster, you can sit on 2 bricks, whatever you have. Actually, I'm going to have you sit on these. But bolster works fine. If you have a bolster and blocks, you could do what we're doing with Cooper here. So he's going to sit on 2 blocks and have a bolster behind him.
Sitting?
Yeah. So clear the buttocks. If you do happen to have your strap, this will be handy too. Good. So what he's going to do is I'm going to wrap the strap across the front of the ankles. Is everybody able to see that? So heels together, you want to make sure the outer heels, the part that's on the ground, are touching, okay? So you put the strap over the top, and then you bring it through the middle. Then, is that visible? There we go. So Cooper's going to just drop the strap for a second, and he's going to reach his hands around the bottom edge of his feet to feel that the outer heels are touching, and the small toe edge of his feet are touching. Okay, this is a close-up of the feet. Yeah, then he'll reach and grab the strap that's in the center. Good, now cross the strap. No, keep it in your hands. Yeah, so now when he crosses the strap, there we go, it helps to squeeze the heels together. Feel that? Mm-hmm. So now he can squeeze his heels together and press them into the ground. Okay, and if you don't have a strap today, it's not a problem. You can put your hands on the bolster or put them behind you and just create that action. Okay, so he's going to squeeze them, and he's also going to lift his knees toward the ceiling with keeping those outer heels down. You'll notice that's not easy, okay? So outer heels are in and down, knees come up, and knees up a little bit more. Yep. And then from the inner knee, let that soften. And from the outer knee, pull the thigh into the buttocks. You want to feel like the buttocks are pulling in, like we did in Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Then move your sacrum, your low back, in and up, and sit tall. Now, as long as his heels are pressing in and down, and the outer legs are starting to pull into the buttocks, he's going to fan his knees a bit wider. But from the buttocks, you want to use your buttocks to move your knees wider. You don't want to press them knees down. You want to move from your hips. Then drop the strap. Inhale, arms overhead. Urdhva Hastasana. Yeah. Stretch up, move your sacrum in and up once more. And then exhale, the hands can come to the bolster that you're sitting on or the bolster behind you. And lift. Yeah. Not lean too much, but yeah. Good. Good. And then extend your legs in front, knees together and stretch. So that was to warm us up for Chatushpadasana, which is our bridge exercise. So Cooper's going to clear his mat and come onto his back, and we'll show this to start. So with his knees bent, his feet are going to be hip distance apart. Okay. Now he wants to walk his heels actually closer to the buttocks, closer than you would think. Then he'll take his fingers and roll the fingers onto the mat. Bend the elbows, and without squeezing the blades together, you want to roll the inner arms out and roll the outer shoulder corners down. Then press your heels, and Cooper will show first. He's going to lift his hips up. From his heels, that's going to help him access the lift of the buttocks. So cut the midline, the center line of that buttocks in, like so. Soften your throat, and then come down. So we'll do this together. What I want you to remember as we're doing this, there should be no pain in the low back, no pain on the front of the knee. Okay, this should be safe for most of us, but stop if it's hurting you, okay? So here we go. He's gonna roll his knuckles under, turn his inner arms out. You can even press the elbows a bit if the arms are bent. Then press through the heels and lift the hips. Relax your throat. Yeah. So the power here, again, is those legs. So press the heels, cut the midline of the buttocks in, and roll the hips toward the head. And breathe. Press the outer shoulder corners, press the elbows down. And as you're pressing those upper arms, feel the lift to the back of the chest. Good. If you're feeling pressure in the front of the knee, pull the thigh into the hip. If you can, lift those hips a little bit higher. Lift the base of the buttocks up. Alex, or everyone, when ready, you can take your arms off the mat and point your fingertips to the ceiling. Yes. So Alex, use those elbows more to use your upper back. Yes. There you go. Press your elbows and lift your upper back from behind. Lift the back of your heart up. And breathe. Use the heels. Press those heels. Press the elbows and roll your buttocks up. Inhale, exhale. Now, if you haven't let go of the mat, try this. So reach your fingertips to the ceiling, bend your elbows, press your elbows down, and then press your elbows and lift the back of the heart. Press your elbows more. See if that helps you get a little bit more access into that tight upper body. Last breath here. Roll the buttocks up. And then inhale, release. Good. Just relax there a minute. Relax your throat and pause. You can come into Pavanmuktasana, knees to chest, big toes touching. Cooper's demonstrating. I like for people to try to start with their hands right about the kneecap there, or front of the knee. But some of us, it feels a bit better on the shin. So determine what suits you. And when you've come down enough, after that last pose, your back feels good, you can either come into Shavasana flat on the mat, or you can put a block or bolster behind your upper thighs. So here I'm demonstrating with Cooper. Yeah. Now here you can see I've covered the back of Cooper's neck and head. It's not under his shoulders, the blanket. It's just the back of the neck and head. And then as best you can, let the inner arms roll out. Let the back of the chest be as broad as the front of the chest. And let your thighs be completely supported by the bolster if you're using one, or pillow, or blocks. Or if they're in the ground, let them melt and lengthen. As best you can, let those thighs release. Let the abdomen be soft and breathe. The skin on your forehead be soft. Soften your jaw. And observe your breath. Slow, soft inhalation. Slow, soft exhalation. And as you shift further into your Shavasana, notice how the hips have sunk into the mat. Back of the shoulders begin to sink further. Back of the hand, arms release into the mat. The front of the thigh, back of the thigh, soften and let go. Release the back of the neck. Release the back of the knee. And breathe. Slow, soft inhalation. Slow, soft exhalation. Without disturbing your body, take a long, slow inhalation and sigh it out. Once again, long, slow inhalation and just sigh it out. Last one, inhale and sigh it out. Wiggle your toes, your fingers, ankles and wrists. And then start to bend your knees. And just pause there. And then exhale, roll to your side. And just enjoy this moment. Knees to your chest. And then on an inhale, come to seated. And sit up if you can. Use the wall. And place the palms at your heart. Just notice how your body feels at this moment. What the past 55 minutes or so moving our body has done, how it shifted us, the power it has given you to connect with yourself. May we and all living beings feel with the light, the love, the joy that lie within and all around us. Namaste. Okay, so happy New Year. And thank you so much for joining us. Let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, thanks for making this happen, because Cooper needs an audience, or we all do, to keep going. So to start again, yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Whitney. Thank you, Cooper.
Yeah.
Thanks, Whitney. That was great. Thanks, Cooper.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining in. I know this is the first day of the year.
Can we see what your baby looks like?
Yeah, I was actually.
Yeah, let's see baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him.
I'm gonna turn the recording off. And then,
Okay.